talked myself right into the final hour of today's program. It's been great being here with you guys this week. I've really enjoyed it. Phone lines are open. I am all over the map today, just enjoying this Friday afternoon. I mentioned earlier, don't have any big weekend plans myself. I'm going to take my daughter to watch her sports team play in a tournament, of course, mass, and we called it a potato weekend. We're in a potato weekend. I will also say on my to-do list, and this is for when I get home this evening, actually. My son, and if you have heard me, I think I don't even remember who I was filling in for when I was talking about this during the holidays, but or after the holidays. Maybe it was Andrew actually. Yes, Andrew and John Bird went on a road trip. I got to fill in, and that's when I was talking about this. My son got a 3D printer. Well, it turns out if you don't clean the plate of the 3D printer, somewhere in there, John Bird, is a headphone stand that I printed. I don't.
Really?
Yes, it's probably in a drawer kept away so nobody breaks it. But I did in fact print a 3D printed headphone stand that Carrie, or maybe Carrie took it with him when he left actually. But I printed a 3D headphone stand. I've got lots of colors you can choose from.
That's so
It's a whole thing.
cool.
So, but if you don't clean the plate it prints on, then you can get like a basically the equivalent of a paper of a jam, but it's with 3D printer that then dries and turns into plastic, and it's a whole thing. So in fact, we broke the combination of my son and I nonstop printing because this is the funnest thing. Like I cannot get over how much fun I've had with this 3D. Santa brought it for my son, but item for item, I have probably printed as much as he has because I'm so entertained by this thing.
I'm
Because
jealous.
you can print toys. I had a friend in the neighborhood when I talked about having it. Friend in the neighborhood sent me some files to print. I've printed rosaries. I've printed things. I think there's actually a listener I owe a rosary to. I need to work on that. And so at any rate, we were printing all these different things. He printed my first grader has his class pet is a porcupine. And so I found these little baby porcupines and we printed 18 of those, or I think we printed 20 of those.
Oh, that's really
If
cool.
if you think Legos are painful to step on at night when you were sneaking around trying to, keep it quiet from the kids, you have never stepped on a friggin' 3D printed porcupine because I about died one night. Like you would have thought I was shot. The response I had to hitting a freaking and I'll send you a picture, John Bird. It's like this
Yeah, I want to
tall.
see.
It's like a pinch. It seriously, most painful thing in the world because my whole foot went around the porcupine. But at any rate, the point of this story, the only thing that is on my agenda for the weekend is it took me a minute, but I after going through all the troubleshooting I could do on my own, I figured out had to order parts. I have taken this thing apart. It's got a million baby screws. I have taken this thing apart, and last night I got the hot end out. That's what it's called, the little piece that we couldn't fix anymore. And now I have to put it back together. So last night I watched a video. It was a 17-minute video. I kid you not. It was a 17-minute video, and it took me almost an hour to follow it
Oh my
because
gosh.
it'd be like, and remove these 3 screws, and then I'm removing it, and so I was like, obviously they've got the ability to edit. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a 17-minute of him doing it, but I was like, okay, these 3 screws. Okay, now clip this. He's like, you can get this one, pop this thing off of your thumb, and I was like, no, I can't. Like it might say I can, but I absolutely cannot. But I got the piece off. I took it's a little electric thing, so I got that out, and tonight my job is to put the new one on because by the time I got it out, I was so excited. The kids were already sleeping. The boys are fast asleep in my bed, and I'm like, I got it, because my son's been begging for me to fix it. So that was my night last night, and tonight is putting it back together.
That always seems to be the toughest.
I'll tell you what I was smart enough to do. In case any of y'all are questioning my how smart I am, I will tell you that when I ordered the part, And then I looked up the instructions to see if I could do the part, and I realized how many tiny screws I had to be taken out. I ordered because I ordered it from the manufacturer, it's Bamboo Labs. When I ordered it from the manufacturer, I ordered a box of screws because inevitably I will lose one or two of those baby screws along the way.
That's a law of nature.
And so I did. I was like, I'm going to order a couple of everything I may need. And I'm just going to have a stash here because this is the first time, but it will not be the only time this happens, I'm sure. And so I ordered all the parts I needed. I have a little thing, but I ordered a box of extra screws
Well, you're
because
ready to go.
so now all that's left is my reading glasses because those screws are tiny. It's much easier to take them out than to put them back in. And then I'm gonna put this 3D printer back together. And I'm sure there are places I could have taken this thing, by the way, that would have fixed it in like an hour. But no, I'm determined to do it myself. I'm a woman on a mission.
There's just a feeling of accomplishment when you do something like that.
There is. And I've taken to doing this. I feel like I am by no stretch of the imagination a feminist, but if I can try really hard to do it myself before I pay someone to do it, I'm gonna do it. So my garage door opener went out at one point, like it just came off the track, whatever, and I was like, I'm gonna do this myself, and I'll be darned if I didn't give it a good old college try before I finally called somebody out, and he was like, yeah, you weren't able, this wasn't fixable. You couldn't have done this if you tried. So, but that's my weekend in a nutshell, everybody. We're gonna go fix this 3D printer. You know what? I'm gonna send you the website where you can go in any random thing. I'll print you a random thing. You can print animals and functional things and decorative things and all the things. And so yeah, I took to printing rosaries. I know you're not Catholic, but that's
really
my
neat.
thing. Yeah, it's really cool. They're functional.
Great gift.
Okay, we're gonna get back into the news. I just spent 10 minutes talking about my adventures with my 3D printer, but that's what happens from time to time on the radio. I was talking earlier of the headlines of the week. It's Friday. Today's media is being dominated by the tariff decision. If you're just tuning in, if you're on your way home from work, the big news of the day is that the U.S. Supreme Court, and they didn't decide Trump couldn't do tariffs, by the way. The order was very specific. He couldn't do them using the emergency orders that he did. So what did the Trump administration do? They do what any smart person does, is they figured out a plan B. And they said, okay, well, you said we can't do it this way. He lacked the authority to do the emergency order that he did, but they found another way, or four, for him to do. And he said, we're going to put 10% global tariffs. And so again, this puts him back in the negotiating position for doing what it's going to take to help our economy when it comes to these other countries that we're quite honestly just taking advantage of for a long time. So we'll talk a little bit more about the tariffs and the responses to that. Obviously, if you go to 1819 News, and this is true of any big story, you can see the congressional delegation's responses there. Tuberville expressing his frustration with the Supreme Court's decision. He said, I'm disappointed by the Supreme Court's decision to handcuff the president's ability to impose tariffs on countries who have been ripping us off for years. 77 million Americans voted for President Trump because they knew he would negotiate fair trade deals and put American jobs and businesses first. And then he goes on to compliment President Trump. Of course, Terry Sewell and the other Democrats taking a victory lap. Woohoo, the president was wrong. Well, guess what? Take your minute-long victory lap. He figured out another way to do it. We'll be back with this and other headlines in just a minute. We're taking a break here at Leland Live. It's Apryl Marie filling in. Back in a second. Well, good evening, everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. Really enjoyed being here this week. You can find me on X. On days I'm not filling in, you can find me at APRYLMARIE. Yes, I'm on Facebook. I very rarely use it. I probably have years worth of friends requests sitting there. It's not you, it's me. I just don't use the application as much. I mainly use it for tracking information and occasionally for research for stories. Most of the time when I do post, it's there is a Southern comedian that cracks me up, and I'll post things from her. Occasionally, post other things. But by and large, I have stopped posting on there and gone to gone to X. So, all right. Big headline, obviously, the on the national front is the tariffs. On the state front, a little bit happening in Montgomery this week. Changes. I say just a little bit. That was actually me kidding. If you're not paying attention uh, to what's happening in Montgomery, you can listen to national news all day, every day, but do not forget about what's happening on the state level because it is important. And sometimes it's the difference between, things going right and absolute shenanigans. Speaking of that word earlier. So one thing that happened this week is the minority leader. I'm sorry, minority leader. Try that again. Majority leader. Republicans are in the majority. Is running. Declared he was going to run last week for the party chairmanship. Initially, they said this is Scott Stathagen. Initially, they said he was going to just take a leave. There would be an interim person, and then they would figure it out in March if he won the race. Then this week, I'm not sure what just happened. Something just sounded like it just. What was that?
That was a big old truck out there opening their gate.
That was so crazy.
It was so loud.
I thought something hit my car. I was like, what was that? Okay, crazy noise. Live radio. You never know what you're going to get. Okay, so back to what was going on in Montgomery. Majority leader decided to run for the party chairman. And he's running against the current chairwoman, which is Joan Reynolds from this area, this listening area. And then today, John Merrill decided to get into that race. Everybody expected him earlier this year to get in the lieutenant governor race. Then he went very quiet. Him and Wes Allen had some back and forth. It was going to be a really bloody race. Nobody was looking forward to that. He decided not to run for lieutenant governor. And then just within the last couple of days, there was talk about him running for the party, Algot party chairman. So now he's doing that. But in the meantime, the powers that be in Montgomery decided, nah, we're not going to do this like 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of thing. And they decided to vote on a new majority leader. It's very interesting because there are very obviously, here's the thing about Alabama, deep red Alabama. If you look at what happens in Montgomery, we've got it, since we've got a super majority, you can look at the Republicans in Montgomery and go, that's more progressive. In terms of like real conservatives pushing social conservative issues, fiscal conservative issues, small government issues, there's not that many. As a matter of fact, I'm watching, I don't know how many of y'all know this, Mo Brooks is running for the state house again. This is actually pretty unheard of that someone who is a member of Congress ends up running for the state legislature after. So he served in the state legislature, I want to say somewhere around the time I was born. That's not an exaggeration. Went to Congress and is now running for the state house again. Very high likelihood Mo Brooks is going to end up back in Montgomery. And I just want to say, I find this as entertaining as Get Up. Like, this is all out entertaining because Montgomery, all Republicans, I say all Republicans, it's not all Republicans, okay? But Birmingham elects Democrats. Montgomery elects Democrats. There are places, the Black Belt elects Democrats. Mobile has some. But by and large, largely Republican. Republicans are in control. And yet we still end up with very good bills that take way too long to get through. Oversized, outsized power by liberal groups, whether it's a business interest, whether it's AEA, which is the teachers' unions, controlling how school choice goes through and putting some limits on there. I was doing a story on school choice this week. Do you know that families in Alabama, if you are homeschooling your kids, you qualify for the Choose Act. But wait, there's a catch. You can, if you're homeschooling, you can only have 2 kids qualify. So the governor's office spotlighted a family with 4 adopted children that is using the Choose Act. Only 2 of them are eligible. If you want to know how this happened, bet you anything, AEA. This is AEA. And it's not that the Democrats are negotiating this, it's that the Republicans are still giving priority to an organization that, by the way, most of them are taking money from. That's a different story for that's a different rant for a different day. But Montgomery matters. Paying attention to what they're doing matters. So the hot topics and bills there of the last several weeks, of course, the biggest one has to deal with the Public Service Commission and whether or not you get a vote there. But there are other bills passing and being brought forward there, other bills passing. This legislative session, we have seen the death penalty for child predators. Duh! Did we need this? Abso-freaking-lutely. If you are doing the worst crimes against young children, no. We have no sympathy for you, and it should be treated as a death penalty case. So that was an early on priority of the governor, and that's done. Another bill that passed this week that I was watching was the Sarah Marsh Act, and this is by Faulkner, who is from Mountain Brook. I did not realize it, and he and I talked at an event, at a Mid-Alabama Republican Club event, that Alabama, you look at what happened in the tragedy in Texas, in the flooding there, and so he had someone in his district, who the young girl that was there, and gets to looking into Alabama camps and realize there's all loosey goosey in regulations. There could be the Until now, if this law passes, there was no background checks at these camps. If you were a parent or a grandparent with a kid going to an overnight camp, know that you want to be asking if there's background checks because state law didn't require it. And so you had camps out there that had none of those. Camps that were not regulated in terms of their emergency plans. So those are just some of the things happening in Alabama, and we'll keep an eye on those. I just want to go through these headlines because I think it's important. The Senate did pass the public school religious instruction bill, and so it's Shay Shelnutt's bill. He's from Trussville, which would allow parents to choose for their public school students to attend a religious release program. So basically, if you want your kids to have a elective class that is faith-based, then the parents can opt into that. A second bill by Shelnut that passed would require any this is that any sex education or human reproductive curriculum or program in K-12 to teach sex risk avoidance, encouraging abstinence is what it is, and would prohibit instruction for kids K through 4th grade. That needs to be a parent's choice. It's going to stop some of what we're seeing. I was looking at, and right around the corner, I'll use it as an example, but looking at the sex education at Magic City Acceptance Academy, they brought in another group, and you can tell they were teaching more than what we want. Now, on some people will say, well, it's Magic City Acceptance Academy, but if it's there, it's all over the place, and we got to watch out for what these kids are being taught. And I say this, we've got so many instructors now that rather than teaching what you and I went through, they're getting all crazy out there. Same people, by the way, who are giving them these pornographic books and want these pornographic books in the kids' school libraries and our public libraries. All right, talk to myself right out of that. We'll go back to national issues in just a moment. Phone lines are open. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I was just listening to the music. That's what I'm doing over here. I actually was scrolling X to see if there's any breaking news, and ugh, ICE ICE had a post about a couple that sexually abused a 9-year-old in their care at a New Hampshire daycare. It was a daycare provider, and a bus driver. A woman and her husband gave a child THC infused candy, assaulted her, and then videoed and photographed it and put it on the web. I tell you what, uh, and by the way, this is an ICE post, and this is the people that ICE is trying to get, and that people are out there standing in the way of them arresting. It's absolutely pure insanity. This case was brought as a part of Project Safe Childhood, which is the DOJ project uh, designed to protect children from exploitation and abuse. And so this is United States Attorney's Office in New Hampshire. The child care provider was sentenced to 15 years in prison for production of child sexual abuse material. Um, I don't think that's enough time, quite honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry, just end it
Where
right
we
there.
where there's no rehabilitation. You can't convince me that if somebody's sick enough for a husband and wife to participate in this behavior together, and then to put it on the internet. And here's the thing about the internet, because I've really been watching, and I'm very interested in these cyber laws and what is happening to these specifically human trafficking victims and victims of child sexual abuse. Once that material is on the internet, it's really hard to get it off. Once it is out there, it is stored on devices. It'll go offline. They'll get all the images offline for a little bit, but then some absolute sicko will trade it with another sicko, and it'll go back on there. It is darn near impossible. And so the victims are re-victimized again and again and again. And I'm telling you what, 15 years just does not seem like long enough in this situation. A lot of what I'm seeing online right this week has been related to these ICE protests. In one school district, one principal, everybody who walked out, he suspended them all. So 300 kids. Think of how big your student body has to be, by the way, to have 300 kids suspended. But one district suspended 300 kids for an ice walkout. Let's think of all the things that we have seen this week with these ice walkouts. One kid hit by a car in Palm Beach yesterday during an ice walkout. A Kroger store, ransacked by kids doing an ice walkout. A bridge obstructed. You've got kids out there screaming at law enforcement officers. You've got a woman who was trying to record a protest who was assaulted. This is not. This is shows us more about what's going on within our public school systems in these areas. That's my takeaway. My takeaway is not that, oh, these kids are all interested in nice. Two things. One is some of these kids are just interested in skipping class. Two, a lot of these kids have been indoctrinated. And I know the left gets all upset when we use that word. Oh, that's not what it is. It's not indoctrinate. No, these kids are learning somewhere, and it's not all radical leftist parents. I saw a man yesterday who recorded himself. His kid participated in the walkout, and he was peeved. He was not happy. He was like, "You guys have a responsibility when my kid enters this building to make sure they don't exit this building during school hours. Not without my permission, not without my knowledge." And that's what's happening here. So we're seeing and I don't even get into the kids just skipping school. Those are not even the most problematic. Those are probably the least problematic. But of all these others, I genuinely think that we have to do something where the school administrators who have allowed these kids to go out there and do, whether it's violent, whether it's interrupting traffic, whether it's whatever it is, vandalism, trespassing, harassment, walking in roadways, screaming and cursing. There has to be consequences. And any administrator not willing to give consequences, those administrations, those people need to be fired because they have a responsibility. And then the ones who are out there doing their jobs, like the one who suspended 300 students, there's video of a principal walking up to a group, probably 7 to 10 kids, and he's like, "Hey, that you guys were warned, you were told, and you're getting suspended if you don't walk back in the door right this second." That's what we need more of. What we need more of is we need more of students who value education, who value and maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's one of our biggest problems is that these kids aren't learning in school, so they don't feel like they're missing out on things. But it's really disturbing to me. This goes right up there, and it's I know we're not comparing apples to apples here, but watching those college campuses and watching all of the protests, the pro Hamas, call it what you will, but that's what it was. The pro Hamas protests on college campuses, big red flags everywhere, big red flags of what these college environments are like, big red flags when the professors were out there participating with them and giving remarks and tearing down posters of hostages. That was one of those like eye-opening moments. Well, these high schools, and it's been primarily high schools, these high schools with people running out there or, walking out of class. One school, other students came in and said, look, even the ones who left, even if they weren't breaking laws, they were incredibly disruptive to everybody in the school. Disciplinary action. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Put them in detention. Let's make them love. Let's make them learn world history. Let's make them learn. And I would say let's make them learn what ICE is doing, but it's not necessarily appropriate for these kids to know the crimes that some of these ICE people, the people ICE is arresting, have picked up because they're that atrocious. You've got human traffickers, gun runners, gang members, rapists, child abusers, domestic violence. You've got people who are already convicted of crimes in other countries, people who are on watch lists. This is what ICE is trying to get out. And that's what these kids are protesting because they don't know any better. And they don't value their education. All right, let's see. Where are we on time? All right, we'll go to Jimmy, the Greek, on the line. Hey, Jimmy. Let's see. Hold on.
April Marie.
There
First
you.
off, can you hear me all right?
I can.
Okay, perfect. I'm up on the mountain in North Carolina. Anyway, first off, let me hit on the sponsors because you know how Leland leans into them a little bit. I'm up here, and my daughter's got a car that she got from Birmingham Broker.
Oh, nice.
We're driving around. And let me see. Another one is the Hueytown Pawn, which he plugs all the time. I've got 2 guns up here that I bought from them this past fall that I've been shooting a lot this week, having a good time because I'm out of the bubble and it's perfectly legal to shoot them on our property up here. So having a good time. Anyway, going back to the ICE thing, my daughter has a slightly different opinion about it. She thinks that sometimes they just go overboard with some of the stuff, and the people that they've rounded up were to meet quotas as opposed to just going after the bad guys. And I have this conversation with her while I'm up here, and she's got a good point sometimes about that. Some of these, if they're doing quotas and they're just catching people in a net, whether they're criminals or not, it doesn't matter. They're still going to go after them. And what I've seen up here, just as she's pointed it out, is a lot of these people who were illegal immigrants in the Charlotte area have headed to the hills. They're coming up here to the mountains where it's safer because there is no ICE activity up here. Just wanted to throw that out there and see what you thought about that. But she's a little bit perturbed about some of the what she calls heavy-handedness of the ICE operations.
Well, and there are quotas. The Trump administration has made clear that they want to increase the deportations by a significant amount, and that includes, every now and again they'll go back and they'll say which groups that Biden has given extensions to or prioritized or whatever. And they'll go back and say, you weren't supposed to be here. And we realize that you got here and you're all comfortable and cozy and you've made yourself a community. And it's not from a lack of empathy. That's the big thing you got to tell your daughter. It's not like people are like, okay, we don't see and recognize that they're building a life here. But what we see and recognize is that we in this country, and just about every country, right, has a limited, finite amount of resources. For every family that is here illegally, and that is a part of our system, whether they're on welfare or not, that's somebody who is in line waiting to get here legally. They can't come. For every person that's here getting resources, that's resources that aren't going to children who need it, veterans who need it, seniors who need it, those with disabilities who need it, those with chronic homelessness who need it. Like, there is a finite number of beds, a finite number of doctors at a hospital who can take care of you. All of these things. And so it's you're legal or you're not. And it's not that a lack of compassion towards the individuals who aren't the gangbangers and aren't the felons or the gun runners or the gang members. There isn't a lack of compassion, but there is a lack of resources towards all of those individuals. And it's especially hard. I was thinking about this earlier when I was thinking about the kid, just the boy who wanted to participate in the girls' beauty pageant. If you look an individual in the face, you're going to feel empathy for them. And that goes across the political spectrum. What the left wants us to think is that by wanting to deport those who are here illegally, we don't feel that. I don't know a single soul. I haven't ever talked to anybody, even my most adamant pro-ICE, deport them all, put them all on buses and planes, get rid of them. They all will say, yes, I feel something for that family whose ICE is deporting. But at the same time, if you stopped and heard every one of their stories, then we would deport no one. And we wouldn't get to our goal of having an immigration system that works. We wouldn't get to the goal of having an immigration system where you stand in line and you're next in line and you do all the paperwork and you learn all the things and you integrate into society and take the test and do all the things. We have to get rid of those, even the ones who are here doing their very best and not breaking the laws other than the immigration laws they broke to get here. But more often than not, those individuals have done something, whether it be identity theft, whether it be lying to immigration officials. A lot of people claiming asylum and they had been in other countries prior to coming here. There's a lot to our immigration system beyond just, we're taking out the gang members. And ICE has stepped up those routine people with deportation orders. A lot of them have had deportation orders for years. And they're like, but I got comfortable. I know I had a deportation order, but I'm raising a family here. And that sucks for you, but we have a certain amount of resources, and we have to say right and wrong, legal or illegal, and then fix the system from there. And so your daughter has a point. Yeah, they're not all terrible people, but there is legal and illegal, and that's what ICE is trying to do. And that's, quite frankly, when the president was elected, it was elected on the broader look at what has happened. We have had a system that has failed the rules that are already in place. And just because Biden turned a blind eye to it, and Obama did in some ways, turned a blind eye to it, doesn't mean we can continue turning that blind eye indefinitely.
No, I agree with that. I do want to say, though, I disagree on the fact that these people who are here illegally, most of them have done other shady things, like identity theft. I think that's a mistake for you to even say that, suggest it. There are over 10 million people who have come here who work really hard, obey the law, they pay their fair share of taxes, and they build the buildings, and they take care of the roads, they work in the restaurants, they do all kinds of jobs that nobody who is domesticated and raised here wants to do. So I feel passionately about the ones who are here, who are working hard, about somehow let's figure out how to integrate them into the system permanently, as opposed to just throwing them out as if they're hardened criminals. There's no, I mean, it's just ridiculous. My daughter, one of the reasons that she feels the way she does is because she worked for a company that had to provide health care for people who were in detention who had been caught up in ICE operations. And they got health care, of course, which was an expense. But at the same time, they split up the kids from the parents. And she saw that firsthand at her previous job. And, so she's a little more compassionate. But I think it's wrong to just say that people who are here illegally are more likely than not to have been shady and on the wrong side of the law. That's just not right. There's over 10 million of them here that are actually working really hard, and they make a difference in this country. And I don't want to see them thrown out. I want with the bad guys.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that because that the just blanket immunity is what the Democrats want. They want to give whether it's to air quotes dreamers, which by the way that's a whole different set of circumstances. Whether it's to dreamers or whether it's this this forgiveness for coming in here. Name any other crime where you're like you've committed it so much and so well, we're going to reward you with legal status. Like that's not something that any society does or any nation does. Like you've been here so good at this, we're gonna reward you. Okay, John Bird's over here giving me the break. I went right by it by 4 minutes. Thanks for calling in, Jimmy. Enjoy your trip to the mountains.
Okay.
All right, we are taking a quick break. Go ahead. I don't know how to push the buttons, John Bird over here. Back.
Okay, man, I'm here at work.
talked myself right out of a show here, you guys. April Marie here, filling in for Leland.
It's been fun today.
It has been, but it's flown by. A couple of distractions. We had a stink bug in here at one point. We had a really loud truck out there at one point. Hilarity has ensued. To the last caller, 75% of illegal aliens use fraudulently obtained Social Security numbers to get jobs. Even while going through the process of getting legal work permits, they will use fraudulently obtained Social Security numbers to get jobs. That is not a racist statistic. That is not a made-up statistic. That is a statistic from the Center for Immigration Studies. It was estimated. Now, this is in 2017. Okay, in 2017, there is an article. Literally, we're talking about millions of people. And if you just put in stolen identities and ICE, you're going to find that there is just story after story of them going to ICE, going to work spots, and individuals who are employed using fraudulent information. Now, I am not saying by any stretch of the imagination that each and every illegal immigrant in this nation is from a part of a Mexican cartel. I am not saying that each and every immigrant couldn't assimilate, but here's the deal: we have, and I know for a fact, we have an overflow of people who want to come into our nation and are trying to do so the correct way. Loved ones of people who married into our country. So a service member goes somewhere, gets a base, find their significant other, get married. They do all the legal things for that spouse to come here. That spouse's parents want to come here. Their family wants to come here. A sibling want to come here. Whatever the circumstance, somebody comes to the school in the United States. They go home. They want to come back later. There are different legal avenues to coming to our country that we do not have the ability to, as a nation, deal with our immigration system and have people coming in and out because of the number of illegal people here. There is nowhere else in the world, no other system in the world in which we are like, you know what? You jumped the line. You did all the things we ask you do not do, and but we're going to reward you. We're going to let you stay. The people who have waited, the people who have family here, the people who are doing all the things right, they have to continue to wait. But you know what? You did it, and you did it so long ago that we're just going to tap you on the head and say, it's okay. No, we don't do that. And yes, we have all heard they're separating children and families. Do you know when that happens? And Tom Homan has been very, very clear about this. This happens when people want to fight their deportation and they have to be separated from their kids. The easiest thing for families to do, and by easiest thing, I don't mean easiest on them emotionally or easiest on them things to handle. I mean, like, literally, don't want to put your kids and family through the separation. You self-deport together. And there are opportunities for that. And it sucks. It does. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm not saying that people shouldn't want to be in our country. We have a phenomenal country. And if we didn't have so many people trying to get into our country, again, illegally, if we didn't have so many people here illegally, we could really tackle the problems, the genuine, real problems of our broken immigration system, which everyone will recognize is a problem. But that does not excuse the people who are here illegally and what we need to do to fix the problem. It is absolutely gut-wrenching when you are standing in front of a family and the woman has a story, or the man has a story, or the child has a story about their parents or their grandparents. Everyone has a story, but that does not change the facts. And we are not heartless. We are not cruel. We want them to go back to their home country or find a safe country or to go to. And many, 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 many of the people who are in this country illegally didn't just come from their country to ours. There were stops along the way, even if it was generational stops. So, ended the show on immigration. I could do hours on this, because we've got to get past the left's idea that it is mean to do this. It is mean for us to take people who jump the line and give them priority. Okay. I've talked myself out of the show. You guys know where to find me on X. Stay tuned for Breaking Bread. Apryl Marie here. Thank you so much, John Burt. It was fun.
Was.
Talk to you again soon. Take care.
Glory to God in the highest, peace on earth and goodwill towards all y'all, man. What's happening? Happy Friday, first Friday of Lent. I hope it was a good one for you. Hope it all went well. You were tuned in to Aftertaste Buds right here on Breaking Bread Radio. DP and Will C. Just hanging out on a crazy casual Friday.
It's very casual.
And I got the lights turned down low in here. They had with the rest of the primetime programming, the other 15 hours being on YouTube, they have to have the lights. The lighting has to be just right for the cameras and all that. But we don't yet get to participate.
But understand this: once they do let us participate,
y'all will see how fine it is. You'll see my fineness
and
real timeness.
The numbers gonna go through the roof. I mean, we already not to flex, talk.
Might as well flex.
Might as well. The numbers are already pretty good.
I mean, tell me another food, booze, and nonsense show in Alabama that pushes the numbers. You know what? We push enough numbers to classify it as weight.
Come on now.
Some would say we more than pull our weight.
We like those how many bricks did Jay-Z say he lost and got back?
I don't know. Jay-Z very well may be the next domino to fall.
He might be. But that's gonna be a hard one to push. That's gonna be a hard one.
Yeah.
He moved different. See,
there may be another piece or two underneath him that goes.
But it's gonna be hard to get him down.
But I really believe at this point that like he and Beyonce are
different, man.
A large part of a lot of the spiritual warfare that's currently going on.
I mean, that I wouldn't object to that. I wouldn't be.
Beyonce has openly admitted to witchcraft and rituals and all the whatnots and whatfors, but we'll get into that on the Sunday show.
Yeah.
For now, 205-545-9950. That's the number. If you have a question, thought, or query, you can ring us up. 205-44-BREAD as well. Redland Rifle Company, Highway 280. Just up the road from all those higher tax rates. 5% sales theft there, Redland Rifle Company. And when you're purchasing a quality firearm, that's a big deal because you can take that money you save and upgrade it a little bit, maybe get a holster or a case for it, some extra ammo, some targets, maybe pick you up an armor plate for your vest, maybe some suppression. Alabama made, Alabama manufactured. That's right.
Yes,
Redland Rifle. And if you need some awesome furniture, go see the folks at Lania's Furniture Company, LAUNIUSFurnitureCompany.com. The best selection of lazy boy recliners anywhere. Enough furniture for you to take it home when you buy it. That's what you choose to do. Hook up the gooseneck. Go outfit the whole house. They got it all in stock. And the mattresses in particular. You know, I say it all the time. I hate, I've hated the times that I've bought mattresses and then not been able to sleep on them that evening. It's very aggravating.
Yeah, you don't want that.
That's not the case at Lania's. Lania'sFurnitureCompany.com, LAUNIUSFurnitureCompany.com. It's AJ's off this evening. JD has some family things going on, some plans, so he's just hanging out with the ladies, his beautiful wife and daughters. Nothing out of the ordinary. But we this evening are going to bring to you this year's edition of the Breaking Bread Radio March Fat Bracket.
Come on now.
And this year, it's the meat bracket.
The all meat bracket.
The March Fatness meat bracket. If eating tasty animals offends you,
This ain't the show for you.
This is probably not going to be the year for you to participate.
Yeah. All my Peter people, just don't listen to us.
Mm-mm. I am a person, for the eating of tasty animals, as the acronym suggests. But that's here nor there. I forgot what I was going to say. What was going on at the zoo today? Anything exciting?
So yeah, we opened up. We have a sensory room, and we had a ribbon cutting for it. We just had it redone, added some new carpet and new things to go in it, and that was one of the highlights of today. We introduced our dinos, the dinosaurs. The truck came in yesterday, so we're getting the zoo fitted for dinos as we speak. We're going to have 20 larger than life, real looking dinosaurs. If you go to our social media pages at Birmingham Zoo on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, you will see some of the teasers that we are throwing out there. It's going to be phenomenal.
I have an idea that you could bring to the folks at the zoo, and really feel like you could plant your flag with this one.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like tenured. Whatever that thing is, when you get to the zoo, you get a raise, and there's a good chance that you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That. I don't know if you want me to say it on air. I'm going to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to. You need a sensory golf cart.
That's it. That actually would not be a bad
Well,
idea.
that's why I said it.
Yeah. Matter of fact.
Because if you could take the kids around the zoo, abstract from the noise.
Sensory golf court. Because that's essentially what we have, the sensory room, and we have sensory nights sometimes.
Right.
We did a sensory night doing Glow Out. We'll probably do some sensory stuff with dinos. So, yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult to put some sort of enclosure on a golf cart.
No, it wouldn't. We have a plethora of golf carts. That's something. And we'll get Chris Pfeffercorn, our CEO. He's been up here before. We'll get him on the show, and that's something he can make that phone call and really get that situated. No problem.
I'm telling you, flag planted.
Yeah, man. Come on now. You trying to, man. You trying to get me.
I'll let your mans.
Come on now.
Hey, just put the envelope in the mailbox.
I got you. I definitely do that.
Oh, goodness gracious. One of my dearest friends, and probably my best friend, I don't think there's probably any probably to it, also works at the zoo. And I think as a social media guy, I really think that you should probably get me and set up a time to go to the processing room where they cut up all the meat and the vegetables and whatnot to feed the animals, and put some shine on the folks who are back there, the executive chefs for the animals.
Yeah, that's definitely, that ain't nothing but me just getting you down there and setting that up. I can do that. I can do that anytime.
Yeah.
So what I love is we have, our goal is to tell the story via the viewpoint of the animals, but the element that I bring to the table that I think a lot of the other people who are in the position before me, I bring a true journalistic storytelling element. So I told them the animals have a story and the people that take care of the animals have a story. I combine the two.
Well, I mean, it'd be rather fun, to tell it from the animals' point of view, because like we could stand there, like we could go and I could go and interview the animals or whatever, and like when we run it back, you could put subtitles about or make the animal talk, whatever the case may be. Like, what do you like best about Dave's preparation of? Ooh, I look forward to Poke Tuesday.
Come on now,
and do the whole thing what's that dang movie with the donkey and the zebra and the
Madagascar?
Yeah. Yeah. Put us having a conversation with the animals on that type of vibe, talking about the way the people in the cookhouse prepare and fix the dietary needs.
I mean, that's something that actually goes along. I'm doing an animal care series where we, I go with our vet and track, how they take care of the animals. So that could fall into my animal care series.
Man, about to be printing you money, homie.
Man,
Let's go to break.
let's go to break.
Traffic.